Degrassi was hard-hitting in the sense that we were kind of the first to go there.
People were invested in the show. They watched it for years.
The original Degrassi series went off the air on CBC 30 years ago this year, but its influence lives on. Next, star Jeremy Eaton speaks with two of the original stars who portrayed iconic characters ahead of their trip to St. John's next week.
It's arguably one of the most influential television shows to ever air in Canada, and it covers a range of topics as wide as the country it comes from.
Wake up in the morning feeling shy and energy. I gotta go to school.
The hardships of junior high and high school life, teen pregnancy, abortion, suicide, and even AIDS, and all of it in prime time here on CBC. 30 years after the final bell rang on School's Out, that Degrassi TV movie to wrap up the original series, the show can still draw a crowd. Its legacy continues. It launched the career of rapper Drake. Famous director Kevin Smith has directed episodes of the spin-offs. The impact of Degrassi goes beyond Canada. It goes around the world. Former cast members from the original series have been touring Canada for a few years, allowing fans the chance to mix with the stars of the show. And for the first time ever, it's coming to Newfoundland and Labrador. Now, as a lifelong fan of Degrassi, hence my Everybody Wants Something t-shirt, it's my honor to chat with our next guests, Pat Mastroianni and Stacie Mistysyn. You're coming here next month. What's going to happen?
Basically, Stacie and I have been going coast to coast saying thank you to fans for allowing us to be a part of their lives for the past 3-4 decades. And St. John's was one of those spots that we tried for years to get to. And with COVID, there was a slight delay, but now we're coming, and it's going to be an amazing, nostalgic evening filled with love and appreciation, funny stories. We have a great comedy act that we do, plus the screening of School's Out. And then there's a fandom aspect to it where we sign autographs and take selfies with everybody in attendance. So it's a big love fest.
Stacie, when did this tour start, and what sort of reaction do you get from the fans when they get to come out and see what Pat just described?
It's so much nostalgia. It's so much fun. The reaction is just, it takes everybody back to those years that they either hated or loved, or probably a mix of both, going through school, and now they've survived it, so we're on the other side and we can laugh about it. Like Pat says, it's a comedy act without trying to be a comedy act, because there's just a lot of funny anecdotes that we have to share. And it started through Pat, I guess, like you said, about 4 or 5 years ago now, Pat, minus the COVID years. And we did our Degrassi Palooza, which was a reunion where we hadn't seen each other. The original cast hadn't seen each other in about 30 years since shooting the show. So it's been nostalgic for us as well.
So Pat, when did you make the decision to bring this to St. John's?
Stacie and I are always looking for venues that will host us, comic conventions that would invite us to appear at their shows. And St. John's was one of those venues that on social media, fans would say, when are you coming? When are you coming to Newfoundland? And we reached out to the local convention that was there. And unfortunately, we're not a sci-fi show, so we didn't really fit that format. But then we met the folks at the hall, and they were all over the idea of having us put on an event there and mixing it up with a screening and a live Q&A and just making it a fun event that people can come and escape for a few hours. I mean, that's what we all are kind of jonesing for, is a reason to get out of the house, a reason to forget that's going on, the life that's going on right now, because it seems pretty crazy that what's going on in the world. And it's an opportunity to feel like a kid again. And you don't even realize when you come to these events, you're 40 or 50 and you meet us and you feel like a 16-year-old again. And that's really the goal, is for Stacie and I to make you feel younger again, to feel that nostalgia. And at the end of the day, we're entertainers, and Stacie and I just love to entertain people. So this is the perfect venue to do it.
The original Degrassi series started with the kids of Degrassi Street, and then it moved to Degrassi Junior High, and then Degrassi High, and it wrapped up with a TV movie, School's Out, which aired 30 years ago this year. What do you think it is about the show that keeps it equally as relevant as when it was aired decades ago?
It's the same issues. I mean, obviously there's some more modern issues to deal with social media that we didn't have before, but at the core, it's the same stuff that people go through. And Degrassi was hard hitting in the sense that we were kind of the first to go there and actually talk about these issues, these things that teenagers are dealing with and going through. So in that sense, it's still relevant. I mean, it looks cheesy. I mean, the quality was pretty poor compared to today's standards, but the dialogue still holds up. And it was a real communication starter, I think, for a lot of people.
You were Tessa Campanelli?
Stacie, what was that moment like for you back then, 30 years ago, to be able to swear as you and Stefan did? I think he said it first,
Yes.
but to be able to swear like that on the public broadcaster as you did back in '92.
It felt pretty grown up, and very liberating. We weren't sure it was really going to air, though. I think there was there's a lot of doubt cast on whether they were actually going to go ahead and air that, because we shot alternative versions. Not everybody knows this.
Oh,
but,
I didn't.
Yeah, well, see, one of the things I had to say, you were screwing Tessa Campanelli, you broomhead, and I'm sorry, but those do not quite feel right in the moment, in the heat of the moment. So it was really, really nice to be able to just be real and not worry about that aspect. I did get a lot of flack for it, though. Got a lot of, there were Caitlin fans that were appalled at her language.
And so, take me back, Pat, I guess for both of you, what was the reaction when you saw that F word in the script? Because I imagine that having, that show, you'd been on the show since Kids of Degrassi Street, so you'd been on it for many years, but what was the reaction, I guess, when you saw the F word in the script? Do you remember?
I remember a gasp in the room, and I think there was a nationwide gasp of people going, did I actually just hear that? Was that real? And I think it was definitely the topic of conversation when kids went back to school the next day, going, did they really do that? So like Stacie said, the show always tried to honor the truth behind a character or behind a storyline, and not try to put things in a nice little bow. We wanted to have that moment be real, and people would realize that we weren't pulling any punches back then. And thankfully the CBC agreed that it was the right thing at the right time, because I believe that word was aired after 9 p.m. And I think according to CBC rules and guidelines that they were allowed to have swear words after a certain time period. And I think we were on after 9 p.m., so that was allowed.
So I know that was a big memory that a lot of people remember, but for both of you personally, and we'll start with Stacie, what's one memory that you will carry with you for your whole life from this period of time in your life?
Just the group of people. I think really there was a core group of us that, we're like family. It was our school away from real school. It was our alternate universe and kind of our safe place. I really did. Even though a lot of us went our own separate ways after, I still have very fond memories of being able to go to set and connect with everybody, and everybody got each other. It was like a different kind of lifestyle, but we all understood where we were coming from. And if we didn't fit in our real lives or our real schools, we certainly fit in. It was a very welcoming and feel-good group of people to be working with.
It's so difficult to pinpoint one moment during that entire experience, because it does all blend in after 30 years. There's definitely a feel-good vibe that I get when I think back and when I talk about the show, especially on stage with fans listening, and when they ask questions, you get to remember, like, oh, I totally forgot about that. But definitely one of the highlights would be when we were all on stage at the Gemini Awards and we were accepting a multiculturalism award, and the entire cast got to come up on stage and accept that award. It was a huge honor for us because, again, we had a lot of critical acclaim back then, but we didn't really connect with the fans because there was no social media back then. For fans, once in a blue moon, we'd get the odd fan mail at the office. But it wasn't until these past 10 years where I started making live appearances at conventions and screening events with Stacie, where fans really came up and shared how much that show meant to them back then, and how they felt like they weren't alone. They felt like that they were being understood, and the storylines that they were watching reflected them as people. So at the end of the day, Stacie and I, our legacy, other than Stacie's children and her family, but our legacy is the show, and we're very proud of that legacy. We're proud to be a part of Canadian pop culture, and part of this amazing universe that Degrassi's created.
Oh, the nostalgia. I think Jeremy really enjoyed doing that interview. It's so hard to believe that it's been 30 years since that show went off the air. And if you want to see Pat and Stacie during their visit here, tickets are on sale now. They're appearing at the LSPU Hall next Friday, August 5th at 6:30, and tickets cost $40.